Hi, this is Arlene. Today's card is going to be made with a die cut, and it's a Christmas card, and I'm going to be using the Big Shot, and that I'm using the Edgelits. They're made by Stampin' Up, and there is a set of 3 in this set. This is called the Sleigh Ride Edgelits. The dies, there's a set, like I said, a set of 3. I'll be using all 3 of those to make a card today. I'll be actually cutting out today in this video the trees, but they have the horse with the sleigh and then some houses in the background. So I wanted to show you this one, and just like the others too, this is the trees, but on the back side of this you can see there is the detail's quite fine in that, and when it cuts it out with the Big Shot you can really see the detail on there. So it's going to cut like a snow scene. It'll cut across, and this particular image will be the one with the trees. So to use that, I cut this particular piece of paper is the Whisper White cardstock, and it's 5 1/4 inches wide. And I'm using the magnetic platform because that's going to help my dies stay on it. You can see by when I put it directly onto that, it does have some, it will stay in position. So just sandwich that in between the 2 plates on top of the magnetic platform. Again, like I said, this is 5 1/4 inches wide because my card base that I'm using is going to be 5 1/2. So it's an actual 1/4 inch smaller than my card base. And I like to just go across, run it through once and then run it through back again. So it's actually twice that it's being ran through, just to make sure that it's got a really good cut to it. And then when you take that off, you take the plate off, and in there it's going to be really stuck. See how it's really stuck onto the die because it's giving a nice sharp cut to it. So I pull that piece of paper off, the excess, and then you want to take a pen like I'm doing here, or even the edge of like a stylus or even a toothpick, and that'll just kind of pop off. There's these little holes. You can see these holes. Put that in there, and then this comes off just like that, and it gives, see that nice edge? So it's got kind of a snow scene. There's the sloping snow of the sloping hills with the tree. And I've cut another on the same white cardstock, and that Whisper White, and that's the background of the trees. Now my third die cut that I actually used this paper, and this is actually wallpaper. It comes from Wallpaper Books. You know, when you get the sample books that you go into stores. Where I work at we sell wallpaper there too as well. So I knew when this book became discontinued that I wanted it. So I actually had my eye on this for a while. So again, took some of this paper, and this is a metallic wallpaper book. Gorgeous, gorgeous paper there. And I cut it 5 1/4 inches wide, and I used the horse with the sleigh, and to cut that out. Isn't this pretty? Really pretty color background, and you know, there's something to think about when you're making your cards. Not so much maybe scrapbooking, but cards that the gold metallic paper can be quite expensive. So I'm sandwiching that gold piece in between the other 2. And this is my card base. This is a rich raspberry. It's made by Stampin' Up, 8 1/2 by 11. I cut it in half, and then I scored it down the middle. So it's actually 5 1/2, and when it's folded, it's going to be 4 1/4 inches tall. So it's going to be opening, the fold is at the top. And then I'm taking some Whisper White. So this is just a white pigment pad. You want that because I'll be stamping using some snow, and I want that to look like snow. In other words, if you just used a dye-based pad, it wouldn't really show up like this. And this is Jingle All the Way. It's a Stampin' Up stamp set. I'm using the snow, and then I'm using the Silent Night stamp set, or excuse me, stamp. So what I'm doing here, I want to ink up my stamp, and then I'm just going to start at the top of the card, and then without re-inking, go down. And that's giving the look of heavier snow falling and then going lighter as it's falling to the ground, rather than just all the same kind. You see how it just gives that illusion of heavier snow on the top and then falling and going a little bit less toward the bottom. You don't need to go all the way to the bottom of the card because you're actually going to be covering it up with those 3 pieces of paper that have been die cut. I want to put them all together, but before I do that, I want to take the stamp saying that says Silent Night, And I'm going to be using that and in the Rich Raspberry stamp pad because it matches the card base. I'm going to stamp that in there where it says Silent Night. Now, make sure you do, it is upright. And I did that last Saturday. I stamped it upside down. So always check on a scratch piece of paper. And that's Silent Night. It looks a little bit darker on the camera, but it does match pretty well with the card base and the Rich Raspberry. Really pretty. So I'm going to be it's just a matter of putting them all together. So I've got some, I was going to use a tape runner, but as you can see here, it's going to run out on me. It was an empty tape runner. So I switched over to, it's a liquid glue similar to Zip Dry. I believe it's called 3-in-1. I like it, but sometimes it dries up and then it leaves kind of a gooey residue, or not residue, but kind of a string that sometimes is irritating. But it all works out. I really like this glue because it's repositionable before it dries. You can move it around if you happen to not get it quite right. I use it on my scrapbook pages too as well. So the first two layers, the front layer and then that gold piece, I want to glue them together. But then I want to pop that up with Stampin' Dimensionals. So this piece, the gold in the background, I put a few Stampin' Dimensionals and then I'm going to adhere it onto the background, which is the houses. And you want to make sure that you're layering up so that way, one's higher than the other two and then it just is a gradual, it goes down. And personal preference. So make sure that you put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom part so that way it will be even when you lay it onto your card. And it would be a good idea to put the Stampin' Dimensionals as well, just cut them right below the sleigh and the horse and then even the trees too. So I glued that all together and now I want to use, I'm taking the chomper on the 1/2-inch side and I'm rounding all 4 corners of this card. And then I'm going to finish it off with just some like glitter glue or stickles, just like a Dazzling Diamonds type of, for the snow, just to give it a little bit extra. I've got little rhinestones here, and I'm going to use that for the eyes and the Silent Night. Again, to just give it a little bit more bling, and that's really pretty on there for the Silent Night, just like that. Now, it's pretty well done. I think what I would like to do is get some gold ribbon. There again, you see how it really needs some Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom there, so I'll be putting that on later. But some a gold bow up on the top of that card, I think would really complete it. So I'm going to get some of that, which would be good. I do like that. And then you are ready to go. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some inspiration to go and make cards of your own. Thank you.